Good morning, students. In today's video, we are going to cover this topic, origin and classification of rocks. Okay, so we will study different type of rocks, okay, that are present on the Earth's crust. First one is the igneous rocks. So basically, we are going to means basically the rocks are classified mainly on the basis of the origin. That means where they originate. Like suppose these igneous or rocks are originate from the cooling down of magma. Okay, so they originate from the volcanoes. So uh, we are going we are going to see the classification of rocks based on the origin. Just a second. Let's start. So igneous rocks are originated in the initial stage of Earth formation by the cooling of hot magma. Okay, hot magma that is generated from the volcanoes. Approximately more than 80% of the Earth's crust is made up of igneous rocks. So 80% of the Earth's crust is made up of igneous rocks. Uh, The oldest known igneous rocks are thought to be as old as nearly 3.6 billion years. Okay, they are these much old. And the formation of youngest igneous rocks is still in progress as you are reading this unit, since rock cycle is a continuous and repetitive natural process. So new igneous rocks, igneous rocks are still forming because of the rock cycle. All rock types are developed either directly or indirectly from the igneous rock. Okay, all rock types are developed either directly or indirectly from the igneous rock. Igneous rocks are also known as primary or parent rock. Primary or the parent rock because most of the rocks are formed from them. Magma is a very hot mixture of minerals and gases. So what is magma? Magma is a very hot mixture of minerals and gases. Okay. Often it comes out to the Earth's surface through some weak points or sometimes gets stored under the surface. So weak points like fractures, faults, joints present on the Earth crust, because of them the magma comes out. Classification of igneous rocks depends on several factors. So let's see the major characteristics of the igneous rocks. Okay. I hope these points are clear to you all, and write them down or underline them in your book. Let's move on to the characteristics of the igneous rocks. So first is the rock forming elements are very compact, which increases its hardness. So they are very hard because from the minerals that form these igneous rocks are very compact. That means they are very close to each other. Okay. The igneous rocks are very hard and heavy and therefore resistant to erosion. So erosion didn't happen for them because they are very hard, and yes, water cannot percolate through the rocks as there is no porosity. So they are not porosity or porous inside them. That means the holes that from which the water can pass them. Okay. So they are not very porous in nature. There is no layer as it is seen in sedimentary rocks. Okay, so there are no layer as it is seen in sedimentary rocks. So this is basically today's homework is to search the igneous rocks on the internet. Okay, how they look, you have to search them so that you can get an idea about how they look. Okay, so it's your homework. Igneous rocks do not contain any fossil but contains crystals and may be visible to the bare eyes. So they don't contain the fossil, they contain crystals. So what are fossils? Means the remains from the dead organisms is called the fossil. We all know fossil fuels like coal and those things. So basically they form from the organisms. They are like in the earth's surface for like thousands of years, and they turn into fossil. Okay, now let's talk about the place of origin of the igneous rocks. So when the rocks originate deep inside the earth's crust, it is known as intrusive igneous rocks. Intrusive, as the name suggests, it they originate deep inside the Earth's crust. Okay, so when the rocks originate deep inside the Earth's crust, they are called intrusive igneous rocks. So the example of such rocks is granite. Okay, so the example is granite. Next, intrusive rocks are characterized by large mineral size and may be visible with bare eyes to a keen observer. So they have large minerals size, okay, and those minerals are visible with bare eyes, okay, to a keen observer. Some igneous rocks originate in very deep portions of the crust and are having even larger minerals. So very deep portions of the crust. So some rocks are formed in very deep portions of the crust, okay, and having the larger minerals. They have the larger minerals. This type of intrusive rock is called plutonic igneous rocks. When it originates below the Earth's surface, it is known as hypabyssal igneous rock having smaller mineral size. So when these type of rocks originates just below the Earth's surface, it is known as hypabyssal. Okay, and these have small, relatively smaller mineral size. ठीक है? Okay, and the example of this is porphyry. Sorry. Next is magma reaches the Earth's surface through the weak points like the joints, fractures, and faults, etc. So these are the weak points. Just we have discussed it just now. Subsequently, it cools very fast when it comes into contact with air and generates very finer microscopic minerals. So when the magma comes out of these weak points onto the Earth's crust, they get cooled down very fast because of their exposure with air. This type of igneous rocks is known as the extrusive rock. So, Just a second. Okay. Okay. So let's start this new topic, that is extrusive rock. So we have studied about the intrusive rock and their examples. Now let's talk about extrusive rocks. These are all part of the igneous rocks. Okay. So extrusive rock, as we have just now covered, that the magma that comes out from the weak points gets cooled down very fast due to the exposure with air, and these are called extrusive rock. Basalt is the example of extrusive rock. Magma may come out at Earth's surface from the mantle through volcanoes and generates lava rocks and ash and other pyroclastic rock. So magma comes out, okay, magma comes out to at the Earth's surface from the mantle through volcanoes. So these are the volcanoes, and the magma in them comes out from the mantle layer, that is just below the crust layer. Okay, and then this magma cools down and make the lava rocks, ash, and the pyroclastic rock. Okay, and tough is an example of pyroclastic rock. So TUFF is an example of pyroclastic rock. Okay, now let's talk about the chemical composition of the igneous rocks. So silica is a very important mineral of igneous rocks and determines the pH or acidity of the rocks. pH, silica is a very, I'm sorry for the disturbance. So silica is a very important mineral of igneous rocks. So it is a very important mineral of the igneous rocks, and it determines the pH or acidity of rocks. Means how much it present inside the rock determines the pH or the acidity of rock. If a rock contains more silicate minerals, that means it is acidic in nature. So based on the acidic condition of the igneous rocks, rocks can be classified into four categories. First is acidic igneous rocks. As the name suggests, the content of silica is 65%, and the example is granite. Second is the basic igneous rocks, as the name suggests. Basalt is an example where the content of silica lies between 45 to 60%. Iron content of this rock is very high, and 45 to 60% silica. So basalt is an example, acidic granite, and basic basalt. Intermediate igneous rocks. So intermediate, as the name suggests, neither too acidic nor too basic. So the pH of rocks is neutral and silica content is such that neither the rock falls in acidic nor in the basic category. Example is the diorite. Last is the ultra basic. The igneous rocks is peridotite. In this rock, silica content is less than 45%. So the silica content is less than 45% in the ultra basic, and the igneous rocks is peridotite. Example is the peridotite. Okay, so I will write them properly for your convenience. First is the acidic igneous rock. Second is basic igneous rocks. Third is intermediate igneous rock. And the fourth is ultra basic. Acidic igneous rocks, silica 65%. Example is the granite. More silica, more acidic. Simple. Our example is basalt. B for basalt. Here B. Here also. You can learn this way. Silica is 45 to 60%. Iron is very high. Intermediate diorite. That means neither too acidic nor too basic. And the ultra basic peridotite. Silica is present less than 45%. This is how it goes. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. So today's homework is to search different type of rocks on internet. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.